Welcome to episode 14 of Barf City. I'm Eric.
I'm Kevin.
And sorry we
You
didn't
sound
put
really
out
bad.
last week. We had some stuff come up that we couldn't record, so it's a week late for this episode.
Yeah, it was all Eric's fault.
Ha ha ha.
He could have handled that situation like 1,000 times better, and he just did it the worst way. No, I'm just being silly. You sound really tired.
Yeah, I went to bed at like 2 this morning, woke up at 10.
That's not bad.
Oh, it's not bad, eh? But I still haven't woke up.
I gotcha. I was actually going to call you or text you earlier, but then I realized there was no ice in the ice machine. I was like, oh, I got to have a drink. So I was like, because my throat gets dry as I start talking. So I had to wait.
Yeah, turned on my TV and Xbox. And immediately my Xbox came on. I got a party invite with one of my friends to play Elden Ring.
Yeah.
It's fun. Elden Ring's pretty fun, I guess.
I've never played it, but I've seen quite a bit of gameplay of it. So
Yeah, the thing I wish is they had a more seamless multiplayer.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I can summon him into the world.
Yeah.
But if I die, he gets kicked out and I have to use an item again. And there's certain areas that you can't get to because there's a fog. So basically he has to leave. Then I have to get through the fog once it disappears because now I'm back in solo and then summon him on the other side of that fog.
Yeah.
And then immediately after we kill a boss, he disappears and I have to resummon him.
Oh, wow.
That's tedious.
Yeah, no kidding. Especially when you got a group of people. If I was doing that on my own, yeah, that wouldn't be so bad. But yeah, when you got a group of people, it's things become even more tedious.
Yeah. Well, I was checking through the podcast episodes earlier and still noticed no comments on the YouTube channel, so no fun. Talk shit on this time.
Nobody wants to talk to us. I don't think anyone really knows us, though.
Yeah.
That's really more the issue. It's like, yeah, we're just not, our podcast just really isn't that well known yet. So, I mean, we have some followers on Spotify, but you know how that is. But you can get subscribers, you can get followers, but if they're not very interactive, then it's just kind of like they're just there, you know? So,
yeah.
And I think that's kind of what it is, but yeah.
It is what it is.
Yeah. It takes time to build up a podcast, I think. So I guess it takes time to build up pretty much anything, but podcasts are really one of those things you kind of have to have patience with, unless you come out with a podcast that's like about something specific that a lot of people might want to listen to. So
yeah, podcasts are hit or miss depending on the topic.
Yeah, you kind of have to have patience with it.
Yeah, some people that start a podcast have already done something. It seems like that has gotten them popular.
Oh yeah, that can happen sometimes too. Like they're already well known on another social media or something, so they're like, "Hey, I started this podcast. Come check it out." And so they can convey a lot of those followers just over to their podcast. So.
Yeah, like Joe Rogan. People know him from other shit before his podcast. Then you got like one of my favorite podcasters, you know, Michael Rosenbaum, who was Lex Luthor in Smallville. So he's known from that.
Yeah, I've noticed celebrity, like just from movies and TV shows, like about like those TV shows or movies are starting to get more popular now, where they'll have like some of the actors from the show or the movie like do a podcast together. I was like, this is becoming more and more common now. I've noticed. So
Yeah, because isn't Ned's Declassified doing that?
yeah, they wanted to bring back the show, and they wanted to make a Ned's Declassified adult survival guide, but I think it was Netflix or someone else, I can't remember who it was, wouldn't agree to it. They wouldn't greenlight it. So the production studio suggested a podcast about the show, and they were like, yeah, we could do that. So that's what they did. So
Yeah.
yeah, and no, Curb Your Enthusiasm, they're on their last season now, season 12. So they decided to do a podcast about it too. So now they're going through every single episode of every season and talking about it and stuff like that. So, and I've seen that with a few other shows and even movies too. So I was like, yeah, this is becoming a very common thing now. So
Yeah, because when Michael done his first podcast, Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum,
yeah,
he basically just had a platform where celebrities can come on and talk about like their life before they got famous, or funny things they've happened on set, or interesting things in their life, outside of being celebrities.
yeah,
Well, he's decided now to start a rewatch podcast for Smallville. And they're doing an episode a week, and there's 10 seasons with 20-something episodes.
right, yeah. And I think that's what they are probably getting on board with stuff like that, is because you can, by default, you've already got plenty of content to talk about, way ahead of you, so kind of thing.
Yeah, because like not only are you watching the episode that you probably, like, a lot of actors don't watch their own movies or episodes of a show because they're like, well, I was in it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Well, you got they're doing so they're watching and they're like, oh yeah, this is how it looked, for fans. It's kind of cool. But on top of that, they can talk about like little tiny stuff that they remember from that scene, or from what the director telling them and this and that. So it's like, it's something easy for them to pick up, and they already have this fandom, so it comes instantly over.
Right. Yeah, which, I mean, having podcasts to go in episode by episode from a TV show is technically nothing new. That's been around for a while. But the new part of it is, or semi-new part of it is, now they got the actors from the show. And of course, to a lot of fans, they might find that way more interesting because they're like, oh, well, these people actually know what happened behind the scenes. So let's hear what they got to say,
Because they actually had a special guest on one of the episodes who's a podcaster, another podcaster that they met at cons and stuff, who his whole channel is watching the episodes and talking about them bit by bit, going through like extra details and Easter eggs.
Yeah.
And he's already got a big following. And he's also watching, Rosenbaum and Tom Welling doing theirs. And so it's like they're sharing multiple fan groups right there between these two.
Yeah.
Even though all their fans are of the same genre, same show, it's just now the fans can be spread out and watch multiple things.
Yeah.
From a viewpoint of a mega fan and a viewpoint of the actors. But
yeah, it definitely makes things more interesting versus just hearing a fan of the show. All they're doing is just essentially kind of recapping or reviewing each episode, which can be interesting too. But like I said, it just adds some extra to it when you actually, people that actually know what happened behind the scenes of these episodes and stuff, it adds extra meat on it, I guess you could say. So
add some meat to those potatoes.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, also it helps, like, what I like that, I don't know if that's Declassified are doing it, but what Michael and Tom are doing with the Talkville Rewatch podcast is they have a number for you to call, and you call in and get ready for the episode they're about to do. You call anytime, and they pick the best ones, and they answer the questions off the answering machine.
Oh, yeah. Kind of works sort of like a radio show. Yeah.
Yeah. You can call in and leave a message to the number, or if you join their Patreon, you can send a video in.
Yeah.
So really gets a lot of fan interactions and of course, as a fan, we eat that shit up. We're basic bitches. We eat that kind of shit.
Yeah. The interesting, the weird thing about me, though. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Yeah.
I'm done.
Oh, I was just about to say the weird thing about me, though, is like I understand why people find that those kind of podcasts to be interesting, like and stuff like that. But like, I really couldn't care less what the actors have to say behind the scenes and stuff like that. That's just not something that's remotely interesting to me. So, but I'm kind of weird. I've always wondered why people have like to follow celebrities so much or actors of their favorite TV shows or movies. That's just never been something I've been interested in. I really don't care what the actors are doing in their personal life or what they think about the show or movie. It's just not something I really have ever done. But that's just me. I get it though. It's not like I'm sitting there going, well, I don't understand why people want to listen to that. Like, no, I get it. I do.
Well, for me, it's I don't really care, but like there are some stuff like what caught me with Michael Rosenbaum's interviews. Like I do like watching some interviews with some celebrities about some things,
Yeah.
And I was curious, like, okay, I know Michael Rosenbaum. I met him at cons, and I don't know him. I just met him at con, talked to him for 30 minutes to an hour, and this and that. I've met him like 2-3 times. So I talked to him a total of maybe 3 hours in my life.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I'm curious what he's doing with this podcast. Give him, give a little support to one of my favorite actors. Because I loved his portrayal of Lex, so I support him by watching the show. Might as well, if I'm driving a long trip by myself and I just want to listen to a podcast, might as well listen to somebody I actually like.
Support him in that way too. Yeah, yeah.
And so, I've heard some interesting stories from certain, like, and a lot of these people that's been on, like I've seen them at Comic Cons. Like, I met Kevin Conroy before he passed away, and all this, and so hearing some stuff about Kevin Conroy's life was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
He also Kevin Conroy also talked about Robin Williams' life because him and Robin Williams used to be friends.
Yeah.
They shared an apartment together when they were both at Juilliard. So it was pretty. Some of these stories are pretty interesting, but like, I don't do it because I'm like, oh my god, it's Henry Cavill. It's whatever. But then the Talkville stuff, I'm like, okay, kind of curious, talk about the episode. I'm like, hearing ratings and going through it, and I love the show. So, and then there are some stories about what happened behind the scenes that were really fucking cool to me. Like, so there's a scene, I think it's episode like 3 or 4, maybe 5. It's called Hothead. And it's about the coach. He becomes, when he's enraged, he creates fire. He can ignite anything out of nowhere.
Oh, wow.
And there's a scene where he's yelling at his football team. And he gets so mad, the sprinkler starts shooting flames instead of water.
Jeez.
And for the first few episodes of the series, after watching that, they didn't know if it was CGI or whatever because Tom wasn't there, and neither was Michael.
Excuse me. Yeah.
And they got the showrunners on as a special guest. Oh no! And then one of the directors who was also a showrunner. And he actually talked about apparently they actually had water going through it at first. And they had these petrol trucks ready and hooked up. When they hit the queue, they switched the water into gas and ignited it. It was actual fucking fire being shot out these sprinklers.
Gee.
Yeah.
That sounds safe. Yeah.
Talking about how it stunk, all that, that diesel, the gasoline smell all over the place. And
yeah. I actually like the smell of gasoline, but yeah. But I wouldn't want to be anywhere near that while the friggin' fire was shooting out of it. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, oh wow, that wasn't that was a practical effect. That wasn't
Right. They wouldn't. Yeah, they
they
didn't do that
really
in the
made
post. Yeah, on computer or anything. Yeah.
they actually made sprinkler fire flamethrowers. So that's where it gets me is like I like that little bit of details when it's like, oh shit, well, that was dangerous. Why were they thinking of doing that? They could easily just, spend a little extra, spent the money they spent on the gas trucks and the safety people for that moment. And
Yeah.
but they just wanted to look extremely real. So they made it real.
Oh man.
I do like hearing that stuff. I do like hearing like how they made the movie magic.
Yeah. There's moments where I find it really just depends on what it is and how they did it, if I find it interesting or not. So,
Yeah, it's like, okay, that scene was cool. I wonder how they actually pulled out of that scene. Like, was it
yeah,
fully CGI? Did they add some practical effects there? What did they do?
yeah,
Some scenes do catch your eye. Like, that's really a cool scene. That's a fucking cool scene. How the fuck they pull that off?
yeah,
And when you get the answer, you're like, holy shit, that's cool. Sometimes you get the answer and it's like, oh, well, that was boring.
yeah. I mean, I have watched some behind the scenes stuff of like the Friday the 13th series on how they did some of those practical effects. And I did find some of them to be interesting. Some of them were like, okay, that's cool, I guess. But yeah, some of
Yeah.
them, I was surprised how many times they freaking set uh, Kane Hodder on fire though in so many of those scenes, man. It's like because there's so many scenes where he gets caught on fire, and every time they were literally just catching him on fire. I'm like, oh my god. So,
Yeah, this motherfucker literally,
yeah,
they, the greatest fucking Jason to me.
yeah. Well, he's my second favorite, but yeah, my favorite would be C.J. Graham from Part 6. But
Ooh, Steve Graham was good.
yeah, I really like. But I like Ken Krishner. Don't know how to say his last name. From Freddy versus Jason. I like his kind of very robotic portrayal of Jason. I thought it was pretty cool, but I still prefer Kane Hodder's over his stuff. So because Kane
Yeah.
Hodder, he does a good job bringing so much personality to Jason's.
The only person I didn't like is Jason, and that's because it actually wasn't Jason. It was, part 5.
Oh yeah,
I never liked part 5. I don't like it.
I like it. I just don't like it as much as some of the others. So it is one of the weaker movies, I think. So,
It's
but
like they tried to
I
go
still
somewhere
like it.
different, off away from Jason in a sense, but
Yeah,
with the Lord Jason. But quickly realized that didn't work and just brought Jason back to life in 6.
yeah. That was actually they told the director because he was the director and the writer for Part 6. They were like, "Oh, we want you to make a Part 6 of Friday the 13th." And he asked me, he's like, "Well, what do you want me to do?" And their number one thing was bring Jason back. It's like we made a mistake with Part 5, keeping him dead. It's like bring him back. So he was like, "Okay, well, let's figure out how to do that." So that's when he came up with the idea of the lightning because he likes those old like monster movies like from the 30s, 40s, 50s. Frankenstein, stuff like that. But so he came up with that idea of doing that, and I was like, "Oh yeah, that's one of the best scenes in the movie."
Yeah, Tommy, he about fucked himself with that line. I still love how Jay tried to argue that Jason was dead the entire time.
That is something that people do debate, but most people agree that yeah, he never actually drowned. So most Friday the 13th fans agree that. So, but there is some debate on that. So,
Well, it's the problem with there being a debate is they literally said they killed Jason in 4.
yeah,
That was his definitive death.
yeah, that was his death. Because before that, he was technically still a human, and then when he comes back in Part 6, that's when he's like, as I guess you could call him a zombie. He's like undead person, So
He's on that Jason.
yeah. And that's when he becomes more powerful too. So because he becomes way stronger in Part 6. So
Yeah, and bitch, you can't kill them. They just drown.
Yeah.
They just put them in the lake.
Like in the old movies, you could actually knock them down. Even some of the, even some of the weaker characters were able to kind of, fight against him a little bit. But after that, they were just like, you could stab him, shoot him, and he wouldn't, most of the time he wouldn't even fall down. He would just stand there. So, like he's a Terminator.
My favorite Jason scene, though, is Jason Takes Manhattan. When he's walking through the city, he kicks the radio. Those kids, he just lifts his mask.
Yeah, instead of killing him, he just freaks them out. Yeah,
which is why I hate the concept of 5. Is Jason doesn't kill willy nilly.
Oh, excuse me.
He's never killed willy nilly.
Oh, yeah, he's had his moments, but yeah, yeah.
It's typically because somebody's about to be in his way.
Yeah.
You're actively not in his way, and he doesn't have to waste time with you. He doesn't waste his fucking time with you. Especially if he's already in front of somebody. So it's just, anytime he goes willy-nilly killing, I'm just like, I don't like it. That's not Jason.
Yeah. I'm a little more flexible. I can take different interpretations of it, as long as I don't go too crazy with it. So,
well, that's actually how I knew the very first time, even though I was a kid, watching part 5. I was like, that's not Jason.
You knew right away. Like, there's something wrong with this. Yeah.
Yeah, I knew right away because by part 4, even though you see Jason only for 3 movies, you could kind of already get a feel for Jason.
Yeah.
And who he is and how he acts. Because they do so well of showing. That's one reason I like Jason sometimes over Michael Myers.
Yeah.
And definitely over Freddy Krueger. Freddy Krueger is one of my least favorites.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I like the concept of him being a human turned dream demon.
Yeah. That's what I always tell people. I'm like, hearing the idea of Freddy on paper is interesting to me. Like, if someone was like, oh, we created this guy, he's going to be able to go into your dreams. And if he hurts you in your dreams, then he can actually hurt you in real life. And all this stuff, I'd be like, oh, that sounds so cool. But then when I actually watched the movies, I was like, I don't know, these are just kind of boring to me. And I can't quite put my finger on why that is. So,
yeah, like, and it's nothing against the actors and the actresses. They're phenomenal. They do great.
Yeah.
I love the actor who plays Freddy. I've met him in real life at a con.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Robert Englund does a great job as playing Freddy. Yeah.
Who plays Nancy is a problem woman.
Yeah.
Of course, Johnny Depp. He's my celebrity gay hall pass. I love Johnny Depp. But it's just those movies kind of got boring quick.
Yeah.
You're watching them as a series, they do kind of get boring quick. And the one time they try to reboot it, just it compared to most reboots, it failed flat.
Yeah.
Because like
the reboot theater. I actually saw that remake movie in theaters, believe it or not. So I wasted like almost 2 hours of my life.
The only scene I actually liked the entire movie was the concept of, because she kept staying awake for so long, she kept dreaming while awake. So I gave him a chance to like do a flash in and out of her existence.
Yeah.
That was cool. That was a great concept. I did love that. But also, I guess it's also, I don't like anything pedophile, and well, he's a pedophile.
Yeah, actually, that's open to interpretation. So,
well, except for the remake.
They kind of make it to where now in the later sequels they make it a bit more defined. But if you just go by just the first one, it's a little unanswered. So,
yeah,
I guess they didn't want to like gross people out too much, so they wanted to leave it in the air, I guess. So,
yeah. But the first one is fine. I love the first one.
Yeah, I like it. It's just, like I said, it's a little boring. So,
well, like the first one was great. After the first one, they steadily. I feel like they declined quickly. Like Freddy felt like should have been a one-off.
Yeah, it really, and what's his name? Wes Craven. When he made that, wrote and directed that movie, he actually, he said that it was never meant to have a sequel. Which, I mean, of course, we've heard that like a million times with movies, but that movie, he said it was supposed to end right there. He was like, it was never meant to have a sequel. So,
Same
and
with
to make
Halloween.
money, they made more movies, of course, because they were made more money off of them. So. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Halloween and Freddy were supposed to end way sooner than they.
Yeah, Halloween, it was never meant to have a sequel either. So
And those are movies that probably like I love them. Even though Freddy Krueger is my bottom of the barrel. I mean, hell, I like Chucky more than I like Freddy Krueger.
I do too, yeah. Because I used to think, well, maybe this movie's just a little too campy for me, But then I thought, well, I like Chucky, and that movie's pretty campy. So I was like, I guess that's not it.
Because like when he makes his jokes, I kind of chuckle at Freddy Krueger's jokes. I'm like, you're a dick. That was a good one. Oh, because it was so dad punsy the entire time.
Yeah.
Like a murderous dad jokes. I'm like, you don't know how I feel about it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's also like, I don't like Hellraiser as much either.
Yeah, Hellraiser was one I was disappointed by too, because my expectations were much higher for that movie because so many people talked it up. They were like, "Oh, the Hellraiser is like one of the best horror movies ever made." I was like, "Oh wow, I got to check this out." And I watched it. And I was like, this movie's kind of boring.
It is because it's so straight and narrow. The actor who plays Pinhead, phenomenal actor.
Oh yeah, he does a great job. Yeah.
And don't get us wrong, people, if you're listening to this.
Practical effects in the movie are really good. Yeah.
None of it to us is by the effects or the actors and actresses. They're phenomenal. You know, you always take a grain of salt with horror movies. We always know it's going to be a little campy. It's going to be a little bit more low budget sometimes. That's not where it is. It's just the sense of the whole plot is what we're talking about here.
Yeah.
Just for anybody listening, it's like, quit shitting on the movie. You're shitting on the movie.
Yeah.
No, it's just overall, Pinhead is very cool. You could spice Pinhead up a lot better. I do not like the remake they did. Hell, the only time I think I've liked a remake is I've liked the Friday the 13th remake.
Yeah, that one was pretty good.
And even though I'm probably gonna get shit from a lot of horror fans, I don't know how they feel. I do love the Rob Zombie Halloween films.
Yeah, I would say that's kind of split down the middle. There's people that really like it, and there's people that don't care for it. So,
do I like how it ended? No, I don't like how it ended. I do not like how the second one ended. But I love the setup, seeing more. He made, to me, that Michael felt more interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Because you get to see a lot more of the psychological effect of it.
Yeah.
And he was still human, but he was also potentially possessed. He still left that open-ended. Ended. Yeah. I cannot breathe through my nose today.
Well, that's not good. You're a mouth breathing.
Yeah, so I'm trying to talk, and there's some things you need to breathe through your nose with, and it's. But the Pinhead remake wasn't that good, and it's nothing. Actresses
saw that one.
Like originally, I was like, okay, they're gender bending Pinhead, but Pinhead's a demon, so whatever. So let's see how this is going to go.
Yeah.
I just felt like the lines that they had gave her were so lackluster.
yeah.
The actress that was being this Pinhead was doing these lines, and she, she said them good, but the words felt so like the sentence was
like maybe she delivered it well, but the writing wasn't very great. Yeah.
Yeah, she delivered the shit lines pretty well, but they were still shit lines.
Yeah.
And I'm like, come on, okay, you're going to give us this new version of Pinhead. Let's spice it up.
Yeah.
Make her more hands-on or something. Make her more demented, more creepy or whatever. Or just more, cunning or whatever than the original. Do something different with her. They made this actress who definitely doesn't have the same presence as the original actor. Because, of course, he's larger, he's more muscular, he's a guy, he's an adult male, and he's above average adult male. So he can deliver those simple lines and stuff like that and be that menacing with his presence. She was creepy with her presence, but she wasn't demanding with her presence. So they were trying to write a less demanding looking, intimidating person with the same way it used to be written. No, if you're going to have a different look person, you're going to have a different, even if you had a different Mel playing that part, if he's not built to the same way as the original guy, don't portray him the same way because he's not, unless he's larger. If he's larger, that's fine. If it's smaller, you don't play him the same way because they're not. Because humans very much, we determine things. If we see a big motherfucker walking towards us, we're like, you know what? I don't want to fuck with that. That's a big son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Some humans, the exceptions are like, I don't care how big you fucking are, I'm gonna knock your fucking ass off. We're not killing your ass. But it's not the same in movies.
Yeah.
You have to give us someone who's either going to demand a presence with their appearance or demand have a demanding presence with their lines. You can't give a person that doesn't have a physical demanding presence with very little demanding lines. I just feel like they just didn't give the actress enough to chew on to play that part, and it sucked.
Yeah.
Because it was the one time that I didn't care that they gender bended someone because it's a demon.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's something that's like a demon who technically doesn't have a sex.
Yeah.
Even though they were turned from humans being tortured. Doesn't really matter to me. But it's just the writing was very lackluster. Almost like I've talked about before, the early 2000s Daredevil movie with Ben Affleck. Great acting, shit writing.
Yeah, definitely agree there.
And so that's why I give a lot of chops to some of these actors and actresses. Because sometimes they do get really shit writing handed to them.
Yeah. And they make the best of it and work with what they got. Yeah.
And those people like that, I'm like, okay, that's good acting skill.
Yeah.
If you can try and show that you're trying your best to get with these lines, trying to deliver a performance, but it just doesn't fully work because the lines you're having to say or the way you're having to stand, I put it on the writers and the director. I won't put it on the actors. But if you have a line that's delivered in any other way, it would be fucking phenomenal, but it's delivered in a really stupid way, I blame the actor and the director.
Yeah.
Like either way, the director's going to get blamed half the time for me.
Well, that's fair. I mean, they are the ones shooting the scene after all. So,
like, you can tell the difference between if it's the writer and the director's fault or the director and the actor's fault.
Yeah.
Because, spoilers for anybody that hasn't seen the final season of The Flash, CW's Flash.
Oh boy.
There's a scene with Red Death. At first, I was kind of because the Red Death isn't actually Bruce Wayne,
Mm-hmm.
which I would have loved for it to have been Bruce Wayne because they actually wasn't able to use Batman. Do that show? They could mention Batman,
Right.
but they could
he
use
couldn't
him. But I'm like,
be
maybe they
there.
could have.
Yeah.
They could have used Bruce Wayne, and it would have been a perfect moment to have Bruce Wayne as Red Death because they got the chance to use Red Death, and they could have used Bruce Wayne. So that could have been a little tie-in with Bruce Wayne, Batman stuff, whatever, without actively using him. Like the Titans TV show actually couldn't use Batman; they could only show a silhouette of him,
Oh
but
wow.
they could use Bruce Wayne. And so, like, they could have used Bruce Wayne and made the Red Death actually Red Death, but that's neither here nor there. You know, the actress who plays the second Batwoman, it kind of irks me. Another reason with her is like, it feels like she starts to find her own later in the show. And of course, they cancel it before she could really, to me, feel like she could really get into being Batwoman,
Yeah.
which kind of sucks for the actress. But they had her deliver the line, the I am vengeance line. It's very classic with Batman. You know, Kevin Conroy's I am the night. I am vengeance. But she does it in a very like her face says she wants to like say it outright. But she has this intimidating face and she just whispers, I am vengeance. I am vengeance. She delivers it so lackluster. And part of me wonders if that's just she just couldn't get the quite right tone she wanted, or if this I mean that may be what she wanted to do. Or if it's just what the director wanted her to do and they were just rushing it. Because it is the final season, it's one of two bosses of the final season, blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
But scenes like that is what can make or break an episode or a movie for me. Especially when the rest of it is good, and then they have that really the moment where you can like to bring it home, and they don't bring it home. It's like watching someone hit a home run and just stay on first base. Like, what the fuck are you doing, man? You got a home run. Keep going. Yeah.
You ever have that moment? You ever have that moment where you know someone's lying to you in that moment, but you just kind of accept it anyway?
Yeah.
That happened to me. Like, well, I was at Burger King the other day, and she handed me the cup. I looked at it, and I was just like, and I could tell it was a medium. And I looked at her. I was like, "Is that a large?" Because that's what I ordered. And she just looked at me and went, "Yeah," like that. I was like, that's not a large. But I was just like, well, whatever. I'm going to the guard shack. I'm like, I got drinks there. I can always just refill the cup. No big deal. But then by the time I was already on my way, that's when I noticed the bag was not my order. So she got my order wrong. That's why the drink size was wrong. So it wasn't even the drink I ordered. It was a different drink. But yeah, I just thought that was funny. She just looked right at me and went, yeah. And I was like, you're lying. Yeah.
There's no way you don't know you're lying.
Yeah.
Some people, though.
Yep. I didn't want to be accused as a male Karen, so I just let it go.
Kevin?
No, I refuse to accept that that terminology.
You didn't want to live up to your namesake?
No.
Yeah. I kind of hate that when people are like, because some people are horrible liars,
Yeah.
but they still try and lie. I'm like, you got to know you're horrible at lying. Somebody's had to have told you like a million fucking times you're a horrible liar, but yet you still attempt it.
Yeah.
So how was your weekend?
Not bad. Got some cleaning done yesterday. Finally, my son helped me with that. He vacuumed the floor, he swept the kitchen and mopped it, and I got the dishes caught up pretty good and tidied up here and there, and so got some work done. So that was nice.
That's good.
I know that's never exciting to hear in a story, but
Right.
it feels like an accomplishment though when you get done. You're like, finally. So I've been meaning to do some of this crap forever because I bought a new vacuum like weeks ago, and it was still in the box. Because I honestly would have vacuumed if it was already out of the box and assembled. I'd be like, I need to vacuum. I could just do this real quick, but I was too lazy to take it out of the box and put it together. So it just kept sitting there.
Wow.
So he took it out of the box and he put it together. So, and then he vacuumed.
Kid.
Oh man.
My weekend was when I got home from work Friday. I had a buddy of mine and his girl, wife, or whatever, was here. They came down to pick up their other friend, take back to Nebraska with them, and so we hung out until almost like 11 o'clock at night, and they went to the hotel, and then I had to wake up early yesterday morning because to get things ready because my in-laws were coming in. They got here around noon, 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
Spent the evening with them, more with my mother-in-law because my father-in-law was out there working on the our Jeep because there's a few things that he had an idea of that could potentially get it running again. Which we found out that the radiator was cracked.
Ah, yeah. I had that happen to me once.
So we got to get the radiator fixed, and the Jeep should be runnable again. So we got that ordered. So that should be here. So they'll be back down in like 2 weeks.
Yeah. The good thing about that is it's not a bad fix depending on how expensive the radiator actually is. Other than that, it's not really a hard fix. So.
Yeah. So once that comes in, they'll come back down and we'll get that put in. We'll test the Jeep, see if there's anything else with it. But they're kind of trying to a little bit rush us to get a new place.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because they don't. This house is not the best. Like, it's a decent house. There's some things that need to be repaired, primarily the flooring. And because there's a spot in the floor that's it's where the plywood, because it feels like it's just plywood on top of the beams.
Mm-hmm.
Where a part of the plywood slipped off from the other plywood, so it sunk in.
Yeah.
And you can actually look at the carpet over where it is. You can see the line because of the carpet, how it sunk in. And so they're getting this house is unsafe. You really need to get a new place. Even you have to rent another place for a little bit longer till you can get the money to buy a house. And I'm like, fuck. Don't like being rushed.
Yeah, I understand that. I hate that too. Like anytime someone's trying to rush me into doing anything that I know needs to get done, but I'm trying to, take my time, work my way to it. And I'm like, just let me do it in my own time. People will be like, you need to get that done. I'm like, I will get it done. I'll get it done when the time is right, So.
Well, a lot of it, it's like a lot of people just like assume if you get done immediately, you're never going to get it done.
Yeah, they think you're just going to put it off forever or something. I'm like, no, I'll get it done. It's just the time's not right yet.
Yeah, I got other things I got to do first.
Yeah.
Because we were wanting to see how much we could get for like a loan and stuff for banking things, and then use that to make it, a payment on the house. The owner-owned house by the end of this year.
Yeah.
But there's a place that our dad is really pushing that wanting us to get the rent, and it's like that's $100 more than we're paying now.
Yeah, geez. Yeah.
If I want to pay $100 more than I'm paying now, I want to already be owning it.
Yeah.
Like if I was in the midst of buying the house, I wouldn't mind paying $100 extra a month. And he's over here like, well, even if I have to throw y'all like $200 a month, I'm okay with that if y'all can get a. I'm like, I don't want your money.
Sometimes I'll do that with people. Like if they ever try to pressure me into getting something that I need to get or do something I need to do, I'm always like, yeah, you got money? Because I don't have money for that. So I was like, and they're like, oh, you don't have money for that? And I'm like, no.
Yeah. I mean, like your parents got pretty decent jobs, so
Yeah.
and they clean their house. I mean, they're making payments on it, but
Yeah.
they're in the midst of buying their house.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just let us do things that the way we have it planned.
Yeah. I mean, everybody needs to do things differently in their own way. But you know how other people are. They always got to be like, well, they think their way is the best way to do it. So they're like, oh, if I were you, I would do it right now. Let's get it done right now. I'm like, well, that's the thing, though. You're not me and I'm not you. So just let us do it our own way, you know?
Yeah, because they're like, this house is unhealthy. It's not healthy for y'all. It's not safe. I'm like,
Yep.
It's only that floor is only unsafe for people who don't live here. Because we know how to walk around it and walk through,
Right.
maneuver it and all that.
Yeah, you've kind of adapted to the crap factor of it. Yeah.
Like, they're always trying to get us to do this or do that or push this, push that. I'm like, ugh. I love them. Those are some of the greatest in-laws I could have ever hoped for. But
Yeah. Oh yeah, I mean, a lot of times when people do that, they really do mean well. They're not trying to make you feel horrible or anything. A lot of times they mean well when they do stuff like that. It's just that, you have to understand things from my point of view. Like you're just making me feel pressured to do something that I'm not quite ready to do yet. So
yeah. Oh.
But yeah, fun stuff.
So yeah, my weekend's been pretty much that. Got to get on to try some Mediterranean food though.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. I mean, they just got some gyros, and I got them to try falafel, which falafel is freaking phenomenal.
Yeah, I've had those before.
Yeah, we went to that Foodies.
Yeah.
Yeah, we went to Foodies for supper last night.
Mediterranean. Did you get a gyro or whatever?
Gyro.
I think it's pronounced Euro. That's what I've always heard.
I don't know.
It starts with a G, but I guess the G is supposed to be silent. I don't know.
Yeah, it's gyro. Either way, it's fucking good.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's not something I want to eat all the time, but I do like the taste of it when I eat it. So.
Yeah. I screwed up and didn't take a heartburn pill before I ate any of that. I'm like, because it's not spicy, but there's a lot of actual spices to it.
Yeah.
So it gives me heartburn because of all the pepper and all the other spices will eventually give me heartburn. And God, it gave me a fucking horrible heartburn because I didn't think about it. But they went basic bitch and they got steak and chicken. I was like, fuck this. I'm getting ham.
Yeah. There's always that one person that's got you'll go to a semi-authentic restaurant and they're always over there ordering like the chicken nuggets and fries or whatever. And I'm like, what the heck?
Yeah, okay, I get that if you're a kid.
Yeah.
Grown-ass adult, try something different.
I used to do that when I was a kid at Mexican food restaurants. When I was a kid, I actually did not like Mexican food. Now it's like my favorite food. So, but every time we went to one, I usually always got the hamburger and French fries because hamburgers were like my favorite food at the time. So
I don't know. I've always like I understand picky kids
yeah, I was a kid then. So
because like okay, I get it. You're growing up. There's things that kids are always gonna love over everything else,
yeah,
and kids are very less likely to want change. I mean, so are a lot of adults nowadays, but once you're an adult, try and fucking shit. Try new shit as an adult. Because honestly, as an adult, your taste buds have changed to the point where it's definitively you don't like something, you are not going to like it.
yeah,
Because like when I was a kid, I hated the taste of coleslaw, sauerkraut, or anything like that.
yeah,
As an adult, I fucking love that shit.
yeah,
Like I tried it again as an adult. I'm like, yeah, typically I don't like this, but I tried it on one barbecue sandwich, coleslaw on this barbecue sandwich. I'm like, holy shit, this fucking barbecue sandwich is bomb. Damn, this even coleslaw is good. Never liked coleslaw. Why? Like maybe it's just because the sandwich was good, it made the coleslaw good, right? So I ended up buying a little container of coleslaw and took a spoonful and ate it. I'm like, I fucking like coleslaw now. Holy shit.
yeah. Sometimes it helps when it's made real well too, because there's been a few foods I always thought I didn't like them until someone finally made them. And then suddenly I was like, man, this tastes amazing. I was like, I don't know what you did to it, but like, because I used to never think I liked egg salad. I always just thought it was just gross to me. And but then my sister, she made it one time when I was still living with her at the time, and she made it, and I was really hungry, and I didn't really feel like making anything else. So I was like, well, I'll eat a little bit of this. And I ate some. I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. I was like, I don't know what you did to it, but it was just like everything was just perfect. So.
Yeah, it's like I typically don't like frog legs.
Yeah.
But I was like, because there's not a lot of meat, it's really stringy, so whatever. My used to be brother-in-law, my sister's first husband, he caught these fat frogs. He was real picky which frog he caught when we were frog gigging. And he cooked with these frog legs, and there were decent amount of meat on them. They were seasoned good. I'm like, oh, okay. That's probably what it is. Just everywhere else, just there's skimpy frog legs. They don't really season them good. But,
yeah,
it can make a big difference. If you have a place that has multiple places that have the same food, like the exact same type of meal, if you don't like it this place, try one of these other places.
Yeah.
They might do something slightly different.
Oh yeah, definitely agree.
I do like that. I just don't like theirs.
Right. I don't like the way they make it. Yeah.
Because like my cousin Larry and Joey, they used to be extremely picky as kids. They're a lot less pickier now as adults.
Yeah. Well, there's always some people that you just never want to grow up when it comes to trying things. So
Yep.
I'm like, at least now if you've tried multiple versions of something and you still say you don't like it, well, that's fair. At least you gave it a shot. It's like I've tried this and this, this version of it, and I still just don't care for it. That's fair.
It's like my wife doesn't like coconut.
Yeah, I don't like the texture of coconut. It feels like sand is on my tongue, but I like the taste of coconut.
Yeah, I like coconut taste. But I don't like
texture is horrible though. Yeah.
But she doesn't like taste. So I will periodically, like, if I can get away with getting something that has coconut in it and she hasn't noticed it has coconut in it, I'll order it, especially if it's something I like.
Mhm.
And I will sneak her and I'll get her to try it because she doesn't know it's coconut in it, just to see if she'll notice the coconut.
Yeah.
And I've caught her with things that she's like, "Ooh, that is really good."
Oh,
Like,
well, that actually is good. Yeah.
motherfucker.
Yeah. Yeah, it took me a while to quite figure out what was going on there because I thought, well, sometimes it seems like I like coconut, and then there's sometimes that seems like I don't like it, and I couldn't figure out what the deal was, and then I finally figured it out. I was like, oh, it's the texture of coconut I don't like. I like the taste of it. So,
Yeah. Like now, if I was on a deserted island and there was coconuts, yeah, I'm gonna crack that fucking open.
oh yeah, if I'm hungry enough, I'll eat pretty much any form of food. Yeah.
No, but if I have the option, I don't want to eat coconut. Like I don't mind like on certain things like a little bit of coconut shavings on like chocolate cake or something because it's other textures with it.
Yeah, yeah, a
It's
few
probably like
shavings
a
on top would be
caramel
okay. Yeah.
because the chocolate cake that the coconut chocolate cake, there's caramel and chocolate drizzle over it.
Yeah.
That's how they stick the caramel to it. The not the caramel, the coconut shavings to it. So that I like. I can withstand that.
Yeah. If there's just a few pieces on top, yeah, that's okay. I can handle that. But yeah, if you're like flooding it, I'm like, yeah, I got to scrape some of that off because like I'm not eating all that.
Yeah, I know one person had a shit ton of coconut shavings on it. What I would do is I ate the bottom of the cake up to the top
Yeah.
to where there's nothing but the like slight layer of the coating on top.
Yeah.
And I would eat it, and I would suck all the chocolate and caramel drizzle off of it, and then just spit the coconut out.
Yeah, that works too.
Like, there's just too much coconut. And I don't want to waste that caramel and chocolate
Yeah.
drizzle over.
Yeah, that's
Because I like
understandable.
but that's another thing you do. Just suck on it and spit out the stem. Don't chew on it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like what you said with the deserted island thing. As like, it's the same way with me with like fish. I'm kind of picky with what kind of fish I like. But if I'm trapped on a deserted island and I'm hungry enough, like I don't care what kind of fish you catch, as long as it's not poisonous, throw that crap on the fire and I'm eating it. So I don't care. But yeah, in my everyday life, when I have the option, yeah, there's going to be a lot of different types of fish. Like, yeah, I'm not eating that. So
Yeah, like I mean, I literally, granted, it was a $200 bet. Literally, when I was in China, I went to a restaurant that serves nothing but animal genitalia.
oh god,
And I ate every item on the menu for the $200 bet.
yeah,
And I will tell you, I did not like the texture. They had some good seasonings on there, but I do not like the texture.
yeah. That's actually my problem with animal organs in general. Actually, the taste is actually okay. It tastes just kind of like meat, sort of, just like a stronger version of it, I guess you could say, a more potent version. But the texture is just so weird. So
It's almost rubbery sometimes.
yeah, it really is. Like I've had hearts before, I've had liver, and I'm just like, oh,
It's like when you take a bite into it. I remember eating, horse penis when I ate the horse.
oh god,
Somebody's like, "Man, you must enjoy that. You're taking your time." I'm like, no, I just can't chew it.
yeah,
Like I am actively trying. I can't get it to chew. It won't come apart. It's still in one piece in my mouth. I don't like this.
So scary.
oh man,
Food's weird.
yeah. But people like what they like, I guess. So,
But I can honestly say I've tried it.
yeah, you can't. No one can ever accuse you of being like, well, have you at least tried? Like, yes, I have. I have tried it. Yeah.
I have tried it, and I found it lacking.
Yeah.
At least for me. Because, like, I'm a big, I love Asian cuisine and all this. There's some Asian food that I cannot stand.
Yeah.
And, like, I know it's like, So the Chinese restaurant back home, where I'm from, the northeast part, I love their coconut shrimp. They have
Yeah.
a nice, like, actual coconut glaze that's hardened onto it, so it's like a crunch through the glaze. The coconut shrimp at the ones here, at the two of the restaurants I've tried at here, tastes literally like mayonnaise, and it's this like thick like sauce coat, not like a crisp glaze. Like they actually took coconut, rendered it down, and put it over the shrimp and cooked it and glazed it.
Yeah.
It's just like they made a fucking coconut mayo sauce that's really thick and just dumped it on the cooked shrimp. I don't like it.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't sound too appetizing to me. I'm not the biggest fan of Asian food myself, but I mean, I'll eat it on occasion, but it's just not a type of food that I chase after very often, really. So,
Yeah, I don't chase after it very often. My
Yeah.
my wife loves Asian more than I do.
yeah, I have several family members that like it more than me, and every time we all eat out, they're like, "Oh, let's go here," and I'm like, I guess, yeah."
I'm like, if you're taking me to something that's authentic and not just Americanized version,
Yeah, yeah,
it always makes me laugh that even the Chinese people Americanize their own recipes.
yeah. That's because they know a lot of Americans won't eat it if they don't.
They're like, I'm over here like, man, I want it authentic.
Yeah,
Because like there's food that I've had here in America, Chinese food. And then I went over in China, I had the same dish. I'm like, holy fucking shit. What the fuck are your Chinese cousins in America doing? But again, it's
they're Americanizing everything. Yeah,
Americanizing it for the Americans.
yeah.
And I hate that.
Yeah, a lot of Americans don't like nearly as much seasoning on there, so they kind of pull back a bit on the seasoning typically at restaurants like that. And then of course, there's, they'll add in replace certain types of meat sometimes that Americans might prefer over other kinds. So,
Plus, there's certain herbs and stuff they
or
can't
like,
get here.
Mexican food, they just throw a pound of cheese over everything, and then, like, oh, there you go. Now you'll eat it because it's just flooded with cheese, when typically authentically they wouldn't put nearly as much or any cheese in some dishes. So
Oh, God, I love authentic Mexican food.
yeah,
Like I would not eat a dish naturally made in America anywhere else but America.
yeah,
But if I had the option while here in America to only eat things that were made specifically like it would have been made in China, Japan, even Europe, the European countries, and I would not eat anything that is Americanized version of it.
yeah,
Other countries doing other countries' dishes in their own version, they typically hate.
yeah,
Are some exceptions? There are some exceptions.
yeah,
Sometimes altering it could be better,
I know.
yeah,
but because a lot of times those recipes were made that have been around for centuries. It's like, there's something that you were missing centuries ago that you're still not putting in it that could make it 10 times better.
yeah,
But that's very rare occasion to me. Typically, I like it made the way it was meant to be made from where
Right.
it's from.
Plus, you also got to think if a certain type of food has been around for like hundreds and sometimes potentially like almost 1,000 years, over the years they've probably pretty well perfected it, so it's going to taste good as is. No need to Americanize it, kind of thing. So,
I think there'd be no need to Chineseify, fried chicken.
yeah, Which I know Japan has kind of gotten into that the last like couple of decades. They've slowly started to Americanize a lot of their foods and stuff and make it more American like. And I'm like, interesting. So,
Yeah, it's just it. I mean, it can be done good. It's just I don't see like I like cultures melding, not converting.
yeah. Well, eventually, because there's so much cross communication now because of the internet overseas. As time goes forward, we might see more and more of stuff like that. I mean, Lord only knows where the future is going to take us, but it definitely is a possibility. So,
Yeah, I feel like people need to come together as groups of people,
yeah,
get along, but not like take over someone else's shit.
right, yeah,
Because like there are things in each culture that needs to be preserved.
yeah,
And there are some things that can be, gotten rid of in each culture, like, in America, well, specifically any culture, I mean, all cultures have this, like something like, simple as, not really simple, but it is simple. Racism. You
yeah,
get rid of it. That's a bad habit.
yeah,
Or like, anything wanting to harm others, get rid of it. We don't need that. It's pointless in our society nowadays.
yeah,
There's no reason for fighting amongst the human race.
yeah. Definitely agree.
But as far as your heritage, your way you cook your foods, the way your people live their life, that's not like going to harm others, keep it. That needs to stay. Because like there's things in Japan that like, yeah, Japan's really liking to modernize their stuff and getting high tech and this and that. But there is still a lot of culture that they're keeping safe.
Yeah,
There's a lot of history that they're trying that gets tried to save, and it's got to be saved. You can't alter it to other people, because once you alter it, you lose where you come from. And even if we get to a point in the future where there's no difference between a black person, a white person, Asian person, or anything, we're all just one group. We're all mixed race. If we ever get to that point, and you just completely do away with everything you've ever had because every race is mixed now, you lose the trail of humanity. You lose what made humanity great and what made humanity bad.
yeah, yeah. They sort of do that in the Matrix movies. If you ever pay close attention to the scenes where they're out of the Matrix, they're actually in Zion. Pretty much everybody, especially the younger people, are all like that medium kind of to slightly dark brown, and that they never mention it in the movie, but essentially that's what they were doing. They were saying, well, if there was so much mixing of culture, eventually everyone would kind of be close to the same shade of skin color after so many hundreds of years, and I was like, yeah, that's true. That would be something that would most likely happen. So,
yeah. But the thing is, like, even doing that, Zion, the people in Zion in the movies, they know where their history came from.
Yeah.
And there's nothing bad about going to the future to where all races is one race. But we have to remember where the trails were originally split and where they met.
Yeah.
And keep that aspects alive, certain aspects of it alive. Because I don't care if it's, somebody is mixed of every single race. You need to know how to cook a dish of every single race. The way they did. Because
yeah.
you can't use certain things you can't mix. You can't mix certain foods. You can mix people, but you cannot mix certain foods.
Are you telling me I can't make an Italian Mexican dish? No.
I mean, no.
I have made taco spaghetti before. It's pretty good. Well, I call it that, but technically it's just spaghetti with like Mexican style seasoning on it. So,
Mexican biscotti.
yeah. But I call it taco spaghetti.
Yeah, it's just Mexican biscotti, which is, well, Mexican stuff on biscotti noodles instead of like tacos, like a taco shell or some kind of tortilla or something, whatever.
Yeah.
It's you just substitute bread, starch. Starch is easy to substitute. But I digress. People are probably already will understand my rant there.
Yeah. I was going to say something and I forgot what it was. Oh, well. Maybe it'll come back to me.
If you forgot it, means it wasn't important.
No. Well, it probably wasn't important regardless, but it was going to be a life-changing saying that I was going to say. Literally, someone would have listened to it and been like, yep, Kevin's right. I'm going to turn my whole life around. I'm going to start, doing everything I need to. Jeez. I won't say what I just did because I don't want to gross the listeners out.
Oh.
Now they're going to take that out of context. Don't worry, it's nothing like dirty. It's not like that. It's just.
Oh no, I'm on the fucking record.
No, I only wait until you get on here before I start doing that kind of stuff. Like, all right, Eric's on here. No, that would be, Mr. Positivity at work. He's the one obsessed with you.
Oh God.
Got posters of you all over his wall.
Yeah, no.
Like, oh, Eric, you're the boss. You're the boss. You're the boss.
Okay, no. I'm done with you now.
Oh my God. I love my sense of humor sometimes.
That's just great. No, I'm good.
Jeez, I'm probably smacking into the microphone. I'm sitting there going. The listeners love me right now. Crap. I just dropped it. I had to get me another drink because I ran out.
Yeah, I drank all my drink too.
What the heck are you drinking? Or were drinking, I guess.
Monster.
Oh, yeah, I should have known.
Well, I forgot to make tea last night.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like hot, like typical black tea. I'm very picky on hot tea.
Yeah.
With hot tea?
Yeah.
Oh. I'm not the biggest fan of hot tea. I just prefer it cold.
I prefer certain teas cold. I prefer hot.
He's mad at you.
But the tea that
Wait.
gallon out of, I really like that. It's bitter.
Well, technically all tea is a little bitter, but
Different type of bitter.
yeah. Some are more bitter than others, yeah. So, same thing with coffee. Some coffees are way more bitter than other coffees are. Yeah, I drank some sweet tea this morning when I first got up. Pretty good. It's about the only kind of tea I really like. I just like that southern style sweet tea. I'm not really big into different teas and stuff like that. I know my sister is. She gets into all those different types of teas, and I never could get into it.
Yeah, I like other teas. It's just I'm extremely picky on it.
Yeah. I've tried different types. I just never could get into any of them. I was just like, I've tried them hot. I've tried them cold. I'm just like, I was like, I just prefer the traditional, like, southern style sweet tea. I guess I'm just vanilla when it comes to tea. I don't know.
Well, because like for me, certain teas taste better with certain amounts of sugars. Some taste none. Some you don't need to be drinking with a shit ton. I like some that's seeped into some of the stove. Some I'm okay if you put it in like the coffee pot to steep it. Some I'm like you gotta hand steep it.
Coffee. Oh,
That's
yeah.
the way with coffee too.
Yeah, with coffee, I'm willing to. I explore out a little bit more with coffee. I like standard coffee, like black coffee with just a little bit of cream and sugar in there is good. I also like. I call it smokers coffee. You know, that's a lot of smokers will drink that like to drink coffee. Will drink it like that. You know, just like one cream, one sugar. You know, and but I like espresso. I like cappuccino, lattes, and stuff like that too. So.
We got a whole gallon of cold brew coffee in the fridge right now.
Cold brew?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Emily buys coffee. When she buys the coffee, she buys filters like you normally would. But she fills the filters with coffee and ties them off.
Oh, really?
And, she puts 4 of those tied off coffees in the filters in a gallon of water, and we let it steep for like 5-6 days before we drink it.
Huh.
And we leave them in there until we're done with the whole thing.
Yeah.
So each time we drink it, it's more and more stout.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We drink it.
That's kind of the way I am with sweet tea. Like when I make it and put it in the fridge, it kind of tastes better the next day to me, actually, than it does the first day.
Yeah.
Oh, everything just kind of, geez, are you dying?
Ugh. It was kind of hard not to breathe through my nose and then drink Dr. Pepper and just all that fizz hit you. I had to put on a nasal strip trying to open my sinuses back up.
There you go. Did you put some Ben Gay on
You and your Ben Gay.
it?
That's right. You need to just go marry me.
I know, right? And now, do you take Ben Gay to be your? I don't know if that'd be a husband or a wife. I guess a husband.
Husband, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's they want to be yeah, that's good. You know, a man can be called a wife.
Yeah.
Because a wife is just a title. If it's a title, anybody can be it.
Yeah. Well, some people just refer to their significant other as just a partner now. So that way it's not like you're not falling into either one of those labels. You're just that person's partner. So
Yeah. Yeah. I've gotten to the point where like the genders topics, I'm like, whatever. Live your best life. Just don't fuck with me. I don't care. If you be a dick to me, I'm going to be a dick to you. And the only way I know to be a dick to you is to fuck with your gender politics. So please don't be a dick to me so I don't have to be that kind of dick.
Yeah, I don't know. Recently, oh yeah, sorry.
And my friend Ritsu, he's born, natural female.
Yeah.
Calls us he. We call him he. We call him, we say he, hey. What's up, bro? Shoot him that way. But I'm like, but when I've mentioned the fact, when I go to talk to him about, anything like his, sex and stuff, especially like when they were, because they were a transgender gay male.
Yeah.
And I was like, have you told your partners, because they're also poly, that
Yeah.
you're naturally born, you're a natural born woman, but you're man.
Yeah.
I always say it like that. I'm like, have you told them that part yet? I mean, you really don't need to keep that from them. When they're gay, you don't really need to keep that from them.
Right. I think that's yeah.
Like, it's yeah, we know we all call you he, we all call you, Mel, because we love you. You're a great person. You make us laugh, but you really need to be open. Hey, I wasn't born a male. I was born a female, and I'm wanting to be a male. Will that bother you?
Yeah.
Because I'm like, you don't want it to come out later and it be this whole big old problem.
Yeah. Right. Rather than know sooner than later. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Which I've been trying to instill in him because he's very scared to tell people, that he's a trans.
Which is understandable too from his point of view. I can understand it.
Completely
Like,
understand.
how are they going to take it? Kind of thing. So.
But I keep telling him, like, look, we all found out that you're not actually a boy.
Yeah.
We all still love you, no matter what. You're a great friend. We'll always be in the party chats with you. We'll always play video games with you anytime you ask or show up because we love you.
Yeah.
Family. Because at this point, I see Ritsu and a few of them as my younger siblings. Because I'm like the second oldest of our group, second or third oldest. I can't remember. And I'm like, so what I'm telling you is, yeah, it will hurt. But the more you're open about who you are, if you find someone who doesn't care that who you are, that's when you're gonna have a great relationship.
Yeah. I mean, and that's literally why they came up with those labels, is to help not only themselves, but other people understand it a little better. It's like someone might ask, well, what does that mean? And that's when you explain it. Like, well, I was born, a boy, or I was born a girl, or vice versa, but now I identify like this. Like, oh, okay, I get it.
Yeah. And
instead of just, if you didn't have those labels, then there might be a lot more confusion there. People might be like, okay, well, what's going on with this person, kind of thing.
But that's why, like, when I approach somebody like that clearly doesn't look like, you can tell when they're in the mid transition if they don't quite look like either or.
Yeah.
But like they're calling themselves a boy or girl, I'm like, oh, okay. May I ask, what was you born? So I know how you're actual labeled.
Yeah.
If you don't mind me asking. Because knowing that you were born a female but identify as male, until you completely turn and become an asshole to me, I'm going to treat you like a male. Vice versa, if you were male going to female, I'm going to treat you like a female until you become a total fucking dick.
Yeah.
Because I'm very much the type of person that attacks people where it hurts.
Yeah.
You have fully pissed me off to the point where I want to just destroy you. I have the mind of there is no rules in love and war. All is fair in love and war.
Yeah.
Oh, don't turn it into war.
Yeah.
I'll treat you however you want to be treated.
I actually tend to treat females and males almost exactly the same way. I don't really treat them any differently. So.
I do naturally, depending on.
And I've been that way since I was a little kid. To me, they're just people. So.
Well, I treat them different depending on the male or female.
Yeah.
Because, like, my wife, she's my Amazon. I can sit there and she's strong.
It's a little different if it's your spouse.
Well, no, I mean, we wrestle around and stuff, and
yeah. I mean, I wouldn't treat my friend like I would treat someone I was married to. That'd be weird.
Well, no, I'm talking about her versus anybody else I've ever dated.
Yeah.
Because we can wrestle around, have fun with each other. It's not, we don't fight, of course. We don't get no fist fight. But
I wouldn't do that with a guy either. Yeah.
grab her and like try and squeeze her real tight and try and tickle her and actually mess with. I don't have to hold back as much. But with other girlfriends and partners, they were a little bit more frail than she is.
Yeah.
So I treat them by who they are.
Yeah.
But on average, most guys, even if they're frail looking, I don't treat them any different than other guys. Just because, like, if they're frail, I won't like maybe punch them in the arm or something like I will one of my other buddies.
Yeah.
Just because I don't hurt people. But so I do slightly treat them a little different on that, but most part I treat most men a little bit more roughhousing.
Right. Which, yeah, that's pretty common for most guys. So I'm not, me, I'm not big into that kind of roughhousing thing. Now, some guys will even talk to their guy friends more aggressively, even if they're not being like physical with them. They're like talking to them aggressively, but then they won't talk to girls like that. See, I'm not like that. I'll talk to a girl just as aggressive as I would a guy. So,
when it comes to vocal, yeah, I will talk to them more aggressively like I will a guy.
And when it comes to hitting, see, I don't hit either one. I don't hit a guy or a girl. So,
like, I've hit a female, and I will admit I have, but she tried to stab me with a Bowie knife.
Yeah, if I was willing to hit a guy because I was angry, then I would be willing to hit a girl too. So that's just my opinion on it.
My thing is, like, I've also been like confronted less by women than men.
Yeah.
Because that could be, I'm 6'4", I'm a mess, and I'm a mess.
Yeah.
But, I grew up with my mother who can take on guys my size and beat the holy hell out of them as a 5-foot woman.
Yeah.
So I grew up with aggressive females.
Yeah. That's the way my household was. Honestly, I grew up in a house full of women, but honestly, I was the feminine one in the house. The rest of them were more masculine than me. I had to balance out that masculine energy. I'm like, y'all are just too masculine for me. I got to be feminine.
Well, like if a girl comes up, if I'm like, say, going out to do LARP, you know what LARPing is?
It sounds like a word I've heard before.
It's where people, dress up like medieval time or whatever, and they have phone swords.
Yeah.
They have that stuff. You get wizards and archers. Now, if I come up against the female and she's like, you just swinging aggressively, trying to get me out, I'm going to treat her as any other opponent. She's my opponent.
Oh, yeah, I do the same thing.
Even if I could visually tell and feel that she actually ain't going to hurt me. Because, I've had guys swing, I blocked him like, oh, this guy could hit me 1,000 times and ain't going to hurt me. But we're in a competition. I'm going to take you out. Sorry.
Yeah. I'm the same way. Like, we're doing this competition. I'm not going to hold back just because you're a girl. Yeah.
But on average, if I'm around a more fragile guy and he's not the type to roughhouse or get in aggressive talks, I treat him completely different than I will treat him all the other guys. And that's because that's how he wants to be. That's who he is.
Yeah, well, that's understandable.
He's not, he doesn't like to work out. He doesn't like roughhousing.
Yeah. I will say this, even though I'm not into roughhousing and I don't like go around punching my guy friends, like it does not bother me if they did that to me because that was something they like, because I've been around guys that, they like to do that and they punch you in the arm and crap like that. Like, that's fine with me. I'm just not going to return, the same thing back to you. So,
yeah.
If I didn't like that, I just wouldn't hang around with that person. I'd be like, no, I don't want to hang around with that person. They keep punching me in the arm, but it doesn't bother me. So,
I'm just very much, I meet you with the same aggression you meet me.
Yeah.
Because on average, I don't like other people. So I don't care to hurt your feelings.
Yeah.
But I won't go out of my way to do it. Now, if you come up to me with an aggression level, that's like, okay, you're trying to hurt my feelings. You're not going to hurt my feelings because I don't give a fuck about my own feelings. Now, let me show you how it feels. if somebody attempts it on you. So, so it's like a halfway. I treat guys and girls different, but at the same time, I don't.
Yeah. And I think that's the reason why I treat them the same way is because, like, I'm just as, I'm not an aggressive person. I'm very pacifist. I'm not really into fighting and anything like that, if any, especially on an extreme level. So it's just easy for me to just treat both guys and girls like, the same way. So if I was like that, then that might be a little fair. But like I said, in saying that, if I was willing to hit a guy, I would be just as willing to hit a girl. So.
You're more pacifist than you treat everyone the same because of it.
Yeah.
I treat everyone the same but different because I'm very much a situational person.
Yeah.
If you come up to me in a certain situation, like if this girl's very aggressive towards me, but she's not physically aggressive, or she punches me in the arm and I don't feel it, I'm just going to potentially, barely shove her out of the way because that level of strength and aggression doesn't doesn't equal up to the amount of aggression I need to retaliate with.
Yeah.
But if a guy comes up and in the same moment and he punches me I'm like, okay, that kind of hurt. I'm going to knock his fucking block off. And that's because, well, one hurt, one didn't. Now in the same frame, if a woman hits me and it fucking hurts, I'm like, okay, this bitch can hit. I'm gonna fucking deck her in the tit.
If she can dish it out, that means she must be able to take it. Yeah.
Yeah. And vice versa. This guy comes up and he hits me and it feels like I got hit by a fucking 10-year-old. I'm gonna shove him out of the way. I'm like, you're not working. But when it comes to, and that's when it comes to the physical. Now, when it comes to words, I don't care if your words don't hurt me. There was the intent to hurt me with your words.
Yeah.
So I'm the type of, let me use those words that you just used on me and Uno reverse them back to you.
Yeah.
Because words can hurt worse than, a punch. You can heal from punch.
Yeah. I definitely agree with that. Yeah.
So if you're attempting to use a sharper instrument, which is your tongue, against me, I'm going to show you how sharp those words can really be.
Yeah.
Because maybe next time you'll faint because the next person you might say that to might actually care about who they are and how people see them. So you might actually do some damage to another person. Let me show you how it's going to feel what you're about to do that you could potentially do to someone else that you're trying to do to me.
Yeah.
A person who doesn't care enough. It's more of and if they start bawling out crying and playing victim, like, now you know how someone else is going to feel if you try to do it to them. That's not like me. That's not like people like me.
Right.
Words hurt. I would rather you come up and kick me in the fucking nuts than say certain words. Because, as much as it doesn't really affect me because I don't fully care, there for a second I'm like, oh, that would have hurt. That is vicious. If I actually cared, that would have fucking destroyed me.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely don't go out of my way to try to offend people. I'm sure I've accidentally done it many times, but I really didn't do it on purpose if I did. So,
well, hell, I can point out probably 20 times you've done on this podcast.
What, offend just people in general?
Yeah.
I don't know what I said to offend them, but I won't argue with you. I probably did. So.
Well, I mean, we have talked about religion on this podcast for a little bit.
Oh, you mean the podcast in general? Yeah.
Yeah, not on specifically this episode.
Yeah, I draw the line at Christianity. Christians are pansies. They.
Man says he doesn't go out of his way, but when it comes
to that, I literally just got
I'm a pacifist, but for you, I make an exception.
No, I'm not going to go beat up Christians, but yeah.
Like, I don't go on,
I might poke fun of their religion a little bit, though. So,
dude. I poke fun at all religions, even my own.
yeah. Well, I mean, I only do that with Christianity because I'm just so much more familiar with it. Because since I used to be one. But yeah, I mean, other religions that I've become more familiar with. I mean, I'll poke fun of those too. So,
Yeah. But the thing is, you got to poke fun at everything, or you take things too seriously.
yeah. I do poke, and that's probably where I do accidentally hurt people's feelings. It's like where I do poke fun at like certain things, like maybe if it is their religion, or maybe I'm poking fun of like maybe the way they say something or do something. And I'm really not trying to hurt their feelings. I'm trying to, get them to laugh at themselves, because people will sometimes, you and me like to kind of poke fun of each other, and you'll say something about me, that like if like some people that would hurt their feelings, but I find it funny because you'll say something that I'm like, oh yeah, I do that. That's pretty funny, And I think that's what I'm trying to do with other people too. But I guess I need to be more careful because not everybody finds that stuff funny. Some people that does hurt their feelings. So.
Yeah, because like people's levels of sensitivity is different,
Yeah.
and I tend to care about people's sensitivity levels.
Yeah.
As long as, like, again, they never crossed. If I'm walking to, through Walmart or something, God forbid I fucking go into Walmart. The gods forbid that. I hate Walmart.
I can't stand going in that place.
I'm not going to see someone say that's, even though I am on the autism spectrum, I have Asperger's. I'm not going to see someone who's clearly further down the line, with autism and Down syndrome, and go up and instantly pick fun of them.
Right.
But if that, and this is going to actually sound, but if that kid came up to me and said, looked at him and goes, "You're fucking stupid."
Yeah.
I'm looking down to him and, "You're fucking slow."
Yeah.
And that is kind of a bad way to be sometimes, I agree, but
yeah.
Everyone can learn a lesson.
Yeah.
That life ain't always fair, but you surround yourself with people that's going to help make it easier.
Yeah. Sometimes, poking fun at someone and doing something like in the way that I do, sometimes that does help me learn about how sensitive someone is, because I'll see the reaction to it, or sometimes they'll flat out tell me like, "Hey, that's not very nice," if they'll say something like that. And that lets me know like, okay, this person's a bit more sensitive, than some other people might be. I won't name the person's.
When a person is.
Yeah. There's one guy I work with, I've just recently started to realize, I won't even put his nickname in there, but I recently started to realize more and more that he's a sensitive guy, and I've just kind of had to learn, like, I got to be really careful with my words around him because he's just, some people are like that, and that's okay. Some people are like that. So.
Yeah. What I really hate is when a person, like, you make a joke to them and they kind of laugh at it. They laugh at it, but it turns out it actually affects them and they never say anything about it. Yeah. So you continue the joke because it's like, oh, they think it's funny and we laugh at it, whatever.
Yeah. And I think that's what happened with this person, like, because I think they were trying really hard to make it not be like it didn't bother them, like some of the jokes I'd make about him. And so they would laugh along, but then suddenly they would just switch on me and be like, act like they were all upset or something. And I'm just like, what's this person's problem? And then, like you said, I had to kind of realize, like, well, even some of the other comments I made may have hurt their feelings too. And I just didn't realize it. So.
I'm a very big, if you don't let me know something bothers you, I'm going to continue doing it because I'm like, oh, this doesn't bother them. I can make this kind of joke.
And that's definitely a lesson to other people. Like, if something bothers you, let them know. Just say, hey, that bothers me. So,
and if you let them know that it bothers you and they still continue to do it, well, you need to get rid of, you just need to get rid of, them out of your life because they're just a fucking dick.
Yeah, if it's a work situation, you can let your supervisor know, or if you're at school, you can always let your teacher or principal know. But yeah, if it's a situation where they're just in your everyday life, then yeah, you just cut them out of your life, get rid of them. So,
Yeah. But, it's just a lot of people don't let people know that things bother them.
yeah,
Because I get it. A lot of people don't want to be labeled as sensitive or
oh yeah, no one
a
wants to
stupid
be
mud,
the biatch of the
uptight.
situation. Yeah,
Yeah. But you
Some-
got to look at it as if you come up to somebody like me, I'm
Yeah.
going to continue making the same jokes until
Yeah.
you fucking tell me, hey, I don't like that joke.
Yeah.
I don't like the jokes in that category because I very much have a dark sense of humor.
Oh yeah, I do too.
And I know my sense of humor and the way I pick on people ain't everyone's cup of tea. But I will do it to see how far I can go and where my stopping point has to be. And
Yeah.
if somebody makes a joke towards me that I don't like, I'm like, dude, that's not cool.
Yeah.
Like one of my friends, about almost a year ago, I basically told him, hey, if you ever make that fucking joke again, I will find where you fucking live. I will kick your fucking door
Excuse
down.
me.
I'll beat your fucking ass. Because it was a joke that's way past my threshold.
Yeah. I mean,
Basically,
everybody has different
it was-
things. Yeah.
The joke was basically calling me a pedophile on the joke.
Yeah.
Because we were playing Path of Titans, which is, of course, a dinosaur survival game we've talked about in the podcast before, or at least, I have. And I was an adult dino, and I was attacking them as a baby. And so I made the joke, like, yeah, it's easier to kill y'all when you're babies. Like, oh, you just love touching little kids, don't you? And I instantly went, no.
That joke doesn't even make sense to the situation.
Well, it's because I was,
Because you said you like to kill them when they're babies. It's like,
yeah, you made that joke, and that was like, no, I'm cutting you off here. You
Yeah.
ever fucking say anything about me being a pedophile, like I'm touching little kids again, I will find where you fucking live. I will bust down your fucking door, and I'll beat your fucking ass.
Yeah.
I don't
And
give a fuck if you're over the age of 18 or under the age of 18. I'll go to fucking jail if you ever call me a fucking pedophile again.
Yeah, and it's fair to say that people have different levels of sensitivity too. Like sometimes I won't even realize a joke would bother me until someone said something to me about it. Like if they said, and then I realized like, hey, that kind of bothered me a little bit. I didn't even think that would, but it did. So sometimes it's a situation like that too. So people have to keep things like that in mind as well. But yeah, we're almost out of time. I didn't realize this podcast was going to turn into a mental health podcast. But but hey, that's okay. That's okay.
I mean, we do kind of talk about subjects and talk about shit that would potentially irritate people because this is a podcast where we just talk about what we think and feel about things and how we see it or make jokes and shit that we find funny. So that's not going to be for everyone. So it's for people that like. If you got this far, our jokes are probably for you. But if this is for some reason the first episode you click on, hopefully got through to the point. Kind of thing.
Right.
We make stupid jokes, and comments.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, I hopefully you enjoyed this episode. You can check out, our YouTube channel. If you want to comment on our YouTube channel, I think there's a way to comment on Spotify as well, but YouTube might be a little easier because we probably see the comment a little faster because we can both see that one. Or I suppose we would both see it on Spotify. I don't know. Don't get me lying, but yeah. So if you want to leave a comment, you can. And I think that you have anything else to add, Eric?
No, I mean just do the typical things. If you like us. If you want to follow us on Spotify or YouTube, do so, please. And leave comments and stuff, like you said, and it can help us figure out where we want to lead, help us where to figure out how to lead this podcast. Because I'm new to the podcast, you're semi new to podcasting, and there's things people would like to hear us talk about. Yeah. We're pretty much open to talk about anything.
Oh yeah, I mean, and that's the name of the podcast anyway. I mean, we're just, we're taking it as we can get it. Whatever comes out, and that's the podcast. So, mm. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this episode, and we'll see you in the next one.
Bye.